Hey, it's Gail, ending my Uber day with a hot cup of tea and just winding down from the day. Here's what I know about Uber so far. First of all, I like it. I like Uber. I had a great time from my first rider to my last. It was an adventure because it was kind of a dreary day, and I'm a little bit apprehensive about driving in the rain. My first fare was out of Fort Worth and went all the way to Richardson, and that's an hour's drive, but it was a fantastic time talking to this young man who just graduated college in May and had his first interview, his first grown-up interview. He's adulting. Um, and he'd been interning. He's a cybersecurity specialist. So that was really exciting because I worked at a community college and we were trying to institute a cybersecurity program there. So I was sharing that information with him and then asking him about his specialty and what about computer. What is it, computer programming that he liked best. And we just had a really good conversation for that hour. Had one grumpy person who got in, but when you're with someone less than an hour, you don't let them define your day, a moment, or life. I just went to my happy place, got them to where they needed to be, and all was good. But here is a fun fact you really need to take to heart if you decide to do Uber. Make certain to take the child lock off of the door because when you don't, your rider feels like a hostage. And unfortunately, that happened, but he was very cordial. He was very cordial, very forgiving of me for doing that. But he did say as he was walking away, you might want to fix that. So, and it's not that my door is broken or anything. I just had the child lock on it and didn't realize it. But I don't ride in the back of my car, and apparently no one has been in the back of the car for a while for me to have known that the child lock was on. But also, I realized that today was like that maiden voyage. It was the test run, and if the test run is any indication of what I can do in the future, then Uber will be my happy place because I did not anticipate making what I did today. And I'm not going to go into the numbers. There is a guy on YouTube. His handle is The Simple Driver. And I picked up some tips from him before going out because this is not something I've done before. I mean, I drive 90% of the time by myself. So I knew that I would have to have something planned strategically, but I needed to go out and pretty much rip the band-aid off and, get out there and just do it so that I can have an understanding of what that would feel like. So now I know exactly what it feels like, and I like it enough to know that I will continue to do it. My strategic plan will also include me determining how much I want to make because it is one of those things where if you get out and you don't have to hustle that hard. I My first fare got me to all of the rest of the fares. My first fare took me to the hot spot. And I want to thank him for that. John was his name. John, I want to thank you because that one took me literally to a place that was on fire. And as soon as I dropped him off, my alert went off for the next one, and so on and so on. So it's been a busy day, and check Uber out. Again, use my referral code if you decide you want to become an Uber driver. Read the fine print, make certain it's something you can do. I would encourage it if you are recently retired and you don't feel like sitting at home and just doing nothing but collecting your retirement check. You're still young, you're still active, and you want to have that money to pay off those credit cards for all that stuff you're going to buy that you don't need for the holiday season, for people that are going to stick it in a closet. Okay. Just just look into it. Anyway, but what I did discover, not just from the simple driver, the guy on YouTube, I also discovered from my last Uber ride when I went on my trip a couple of weeks ago, the guy that picked me up for Uber, he was in a brand new 2018 Mercedes, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." He's doing his thing, and it turned out that he had been in education for 17 years and retired and was young. He was a young guy. I think he went into education right out of college. So he decided to start driving Uber, and he makes the equivalent of what he did in education, um, driving Uber. So it can be done, and the simple driver really gives some good tips on how to generate the income you want by driving Uber. So hopefully this helps, especially those of you that were asking me, what's the benefit of it? It can be a full-time job. It can be a really nice part-time gig. Uh, Check into it. To Angie, who gave me some tips, girl, I was way ahead of you on setting the car up before I got people in it, because I'm a hostess by nature, and I knew to have the gum and water and some antibacterial hand wash for people coming in, because when you get into the car of a stranger, you kind of want a little something just for a safety purposes. Also Kleenex, because it was 40 something degrees today. So everybody with the runny noses, you don't want to have to dig through your purse for that stuff. And most men don't carry that stuff in their pockets. So just to have those little extras out, I think is why I got the tips that I got. I got some really good tips. I was blown away by the tips, because it was one was well over 20%, well over 20%. And I've never worked in an industry where I got tips, so that's kind of cool that someone gives a little extra for that. Also, let me help a few people out with this. Stop worrying about what people think about you. Okay? Yep, I've worked in corporate America, had a wonderful salary. I worked in education. I've worked in nonprofit. I've been in the military. My very first job was a paper route. I have worked the gamut. I have been the janitor, the receptionist, and the director. When your life changes and you have to shift with it, nothing about a change in your life that you had no control over should be embarrassing to you, okay? If you need to step out there, get another job. You used to run your own company. You've been a VP. They reorganized. They let you go. Whatever your situation is, you are now in recovery. You are no longer addicted to whatever was holding you back. You've been broke. You're coming out of an abusive relationship. Whatever your situation is, stop letting people make you feel guilty because you want to live your life, and it looks like a step backwards to them. Unless they are paying your bills, tell them to go and sit down somewhere. I was going to go in a totally different direction with that. Just tell them to go sit down. If they're not there to help and they've chosen to hinder, then walk away from those people. Their season in your life is over, and you need to move forward. And that comes from someone who made the statement of, it's interesting. People keep saying to me, it's interesting that you put your business out there like that. I write for a living. You can read about all of my business. I leave my home, so some of my business is going to be told. If you are still caught up in that high school mentality of, you know, you were the cool kid or you think someone is talking about you, everyone talks about you. I need people to talk about me. Doggone it, do you know the amount of money that goes into marketing? Come on now, talk about me to everyone. And if you know Tyler Perry, would you tell him he's got my number? I got 2 agents. It's not like he can't find me. All right. So with that said, I'm going to drink my tea now, and then I'm gonna go to bed because I've already gotten into my I'm done driving clothes, and I'm gonna shut it down. So have fun out there. If you're gonna do Uber, I say go for it. Um, have fun with it. And not only am I going to leave the information for my referral code and the simple driver, I also want to show you a cool caddy that I'm getting for the back of my car, so people can have their little, they don't have to, like knock the stuff off of the seat in order to get to it. It'll be right there on the back of the seat. Okay. I'm having fun with this, y'all, if you couldn't tell. Have a great evening.
Motion detected at the front door.
Alexa, I need you to not interrupt me, and I'll chat with you all later. It's just creepy when she does that because I live alone and I know nobody's at my front door. They're not. Or they better not be. Or if they are, they need to go ahead and ring the bell. Anyway, night.